Why didn't I kill him? This is a question that I was recently asked by a law enforcement officer. Hi, everybody. John here. So, the other day at work, let's see, today is Monday. Last Friday at work, I was involved in a fist fight with a homeless person. Uh, and that question of why didn't I kill him was asked to me later on by a member of the sheriff's office. But before we get to that, let me give you a little background. Where I work is a disc golf course. It's like a regular golf course, except you play it with frisbee. And what I do is, a big part of it is at each one of the holes we have a 5 gallon bucket with the idea that the people playing on the course will put their empty beer and soda cans in those buckets. And so I go around and collect those cans, which have a 10-cent deposit on them, and then we bag those cans up and give them to a charity called the Ant Farm. And that's a charity for young kids. Anyway, so stealing from those buckets, though, however, constitutes theft. It's along the lines of going into the tip jar at a delicatessen or something. Same idea. And the company I work for treats it the same way. So, last Friday, I see a guy with a big white plastic bag walking across the golf course, disc golf course, and he looks in our dumpster. Now, that's a major tell right there. But then, as he's continuing on to one of the holes, that's when I noticed his actual bag was about this full of cans. And I'm like, okay, I know how this goes. So I get in the golf cart and I go over to discuss with him that he's not allowed to do what he's doing. I get over there, I turn off the engine because I don't like talking over the sound of the motorized golf cart. I'm talking to him in much the same tone I'm talking to you, just trying to be a civil person talking to another civil person. I start out by saying, excuse me, I'm sorry, but actually what you're doing is not allowed. I then tell him that those cans have been earmarked for the children's charity and that, he can't take anymore. I wouldn't have really cared. I didn't expect him, I guess, to go put the cans back. And he didn't have enough cans for me to really worry about it, so I wouldn't have cared if he had taken what he had and left. But as I'm going through my spiel, he is moving from my 9 o'clock position, around, and sort of disinterested and not listening to me is the way I later described his demeanor. But he stops in my 5 o'clock position. I'm still sitting in the golf cart, but he's now over there. So again, I don't want to be rude and be one of these people like craning my neck to talk to the guy. So I get out of the golf cart and I go around to the back on my side with about the width of the golf cart separating us. And he says something like, I don't even know why I'm listening to you. This isn't even your property. This is a public park. And I understand how this place can be misconstrued as a public park because part of the company's deal, if you want to call it without getting too into it, is that we maintain this area as a public park. I work for the power company. The fact of the matter is, in order for them to justify damming up the river, long ago the law said if you're going to dam up the river, you have to make recreational areas available for the public elsewhere. That's where I work. Okay, no big mystery there. So, I say to the guy, the power company makes the land available for the public. It's no big mystery. And that's when he says something like, you're full of shit. I don't see any pay stations. And boom, right then, he hauls off and punches me in the face. Now, it's been 40 years since I've been in that kind of fight. And he punched me right here. If he had punched me in the jaw, it'd be a little different. If he had punched me a little higher, it'd be a little different. But he got me right there. He didn't hit the nose. He didn't hit a little bruising on the jaw here. Not much, but like I said, right like that. So I sort of step back and I pull out a broomstick that I've got. And when I was in the National Guard, they told us how to sort of, one of the things we did was riot training. So I've got the broomstick across me and I've got it back all the way like this. Because I want an arm's length between he and I. This guy was about 30 and average build, clean shaven. He was wearing a cowboy hat. He didn't look like too much of a threat, but I mean, at the same time, he still obviously was coming after me. So I've got this broomstick out there, and he says to me, "What are you doing with that?" And I said, "I just want to keep you at arm's length, but in actuality, I'd appreciate it if you just left by way of that gate." I was willing to take the shot in the face just to get him off the property and put this to an end. I'll go inside. It means I got to write up a 1-page report instead of the 6-page report. To which he says, "So you're not going to hit me with that?" And I said, "No, I wasn't even considering it." And I've thought a lot about this. In hindsight, I don't think I really was. I just wanted to hold him away at arm's length. If I was considering it, I would have come at it, straight out of the gate. But I didn't, like I said. So he says, "Wrong answer. You picked the wrong guy to fuck with on the wrong day." And he grabs the stick and tackles me. And we go back, and now we're on the ground and fighting. No other way to put it. And I remember thinking 2 things. 1, you got to get up. And 2, don't let go of the goddamn stick, or he's going to use it on you. So I'm using the stick, but also using some wrestling maneuvers I remember from high school, and I get up. I see an opportunity, and I kick that guy in the nuts so hard. And nothing happens. But he lunges at me again, his body weight and holding the stick and all that. Again, I go back, we go back, he's on top of me, we're struggling and all this kind of stuff. Again, same sort of maneuver. Get out, get up. I've got the stick, and we're doing one of these and this kind of stuff. He's trying to get it from me. Again, I see the window of opportunity, so to speak, and this time I think hitting him in the nuts with my laces maybe didn't get the idea across. I'm going to give him the toe. So I kicked him in the nuts with the toe of my combat boot as hard as I could, and I'm telling you, it looked like he went up just a little, but I made the mental note of, why the fuck isn't this working? It didn't faze him at all. And it was then that 2 guys who were playing disc golf over there came to my rescue and tackled this guy. And what happened next is sort of fuzzy because I was obviously dazed and confused, so I don't remember seeing the guy leaving and don't remember which way he went, this kind of crap. So I had to escalate it through the company, and they escalated it to the company security department and all yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I get eventually talking on the phone with the sheriff. And I tell the sheriff basically what I just told you. And what she said was, once he punched me, and I stepped back and pulled out the stick, that's when she asked me, why didn't I kill him? And I thought, holy shit, that's a pretty serious thing to say. And I know this sheriff sort of pretty well. She's the one who comes through and patrols the property all the time. And I think I said something to her like, that seems a bit extreme, as I had no plan on doing that. To which she sort of turned it around on me, and this is what I want to discuss with you. She said you were talking to him in a civil tone, and you thought he was listening to you, and I guess obviously he wasn't, and he decided to take it to the next level. Now, there was no discussion as to what the next level was, and there was no means for me to anticipate that. He didn't unzip his jacket, hang it up. He didn't take off rings or tape up his hands or assume the position or, oh, you're going to knock your top off or any of that sort of shit. He just cold-cocked me. Again, right there. So the sheriff said, John, Would you have considered killing him if he had instead come around and nailed you in the neck with a knife or with a ballpoint pen? Uh, and that's when I began to think that she's right. I mean, I'm 57, and I believe this guy was about 30, so let's say there's a 25-year difference between the two of us. I sure as shit have no interest in trying to outrun him. And I wouldn't want to get further from my office and wind up in the woods someplace and have him then chase me down and me all out of breath, and then he beats the shit out of me. And what if he had a gun? I mean, unfortunately, because I'm about 40 miles outside of Portland, there's a lot of violence going on in there, a lot of gun-related violence and stuff like that. She said, how did I know he didn't have a gun? And she's right. And so, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I don't know, and here's the question, and I know the answer with regards to deadly force and a gun because I've trained on it, and just day in and day out, you know, you only draw the gun when you have the intention of killing the other person, obviously. But if I had taken this broomstick and nailed this guy in the collarbone, or shattered his kneecap or something, obviously it would have changed the course of the evening, unless he had a gun, in which case he could have still escalated that. But I guess I'd be looking at a civil lawsuit. Or maybe not. I don't know. I mean, they said, in hindsight, the people I've talked to, that the reason he didn't respond to the two serious kicks were because he was probably on methamphetamine, is what they identified it. I don't know. I've never even seen that shit. But I don't know, you know, if I had a gun and this guy punched me in the face, I still don't think I would have pulled it out. I would have still, I think, gone for the broomstick. But this time, and or next time, and or I hope never any time, I guess I would nail his collarbone. I don't know. That's why I'm making this video. I've never been in sort of the high school yard brawl 40 years later. You know, back then, you punched it around at each other, you brushed off, the bell rang, you went into class, and that was it. So, going into a fight like that with that mentality, I mean, shit, this guy having a bad day, I don't know, he's got nothing to lose. Maybe he's just got out, and maybe he's looking to go back in. No way to tell. And I don't want to be the news story that they then convey that information to the public through. So, here's the scary thing. One, that the guys who pulled him off of me say that he comes to the park here periodically. They note this guy because he doesn't play disc golf and he wears this cowboy hat. And two, I close this place up at the end of the night. I'm the one who, when the bathrooms are empty, I go in there alone. Sure I do. And at the end of the night, I go lock the gate, and I'm the only one in here. Sure I am. No, actually I am. I'm not being sarcastic about that. And the problem is that the company doesn't allow us really to carry anything, even pepper spray. They don't want the liability. They don't want that exposure in public. And I sort of understand that too. So, again, when the question came up, why didn't you kill him? How would you have answered? I look forward to your comments. Thanks. Leave them down below. John out. Bye.